Today we're going to have a look at a really cool product that I never knew existed, and it is a battery-powered air inflator. And what makes this really convenient for me is I do a lot of biking, ride some motorcycles, and we play a lot of basketball. We go to the park a lot. So there's a lot of times when we need to pump up a basketball. Of course, this one is extreme, but this is the ideal product. I have a lot of those little hand pumps, and they're just not real convenient, or they break easily. So we're going to see how this little battery-powered pump will work out. Now, it's really convenient that it includes a little mounting bracket. So if you wanted to mount this to your bike, this holder is pretty cool because it actually mounts where your water bottle cage would go on a road bike. So if you have a road bike that already has a cage on it or doesn't have a cage, you can take the cage off and mount this to that, and then you can always have the pump with you. Now, it is a little heavy, so if you're a weight weenie, I would not recommend it. Now for me, I'm going to leave it in the trunk of my car. So I'm not going to use this actual mount, but it does include a nice bag. So we're going to use that instead. Also included is the adapter to pump up your bike tires, as well as the needle to pump up basketballs, footballs, what have you. Of course, the screws, a couple of rubber pads here with adhesive backing, charging cable. This is rechargeable. And you have this little adapter here, which would be used for like swimming pools or rafts, that kind of thing. So it includes that as well. And looking at the front of the unit, at the top you have the power button, you've got the display, you've got the increase, decrease, and then you got the units and measure button at the bottom. Below you've got your charging port and a USB port. Now I charged, I think it took about a half hour, but it wasn't completely dead. From full dead, according to the instructions, about a 2.5 hour charge. It charges via micro USB, work current is 1 to 5 amps, and max PSI is 150 PSI. So let's go ahead and turn this on. You simply hold the power button down for a few seconds and voila, it's on. To charge this unit, it's really simple. You get your micro USB, plug it into the unit, and then plug this into the wall. And you'll notice there's another USB connector there. This is for the charging bank. So go ahead and plug in your device, such as an iPhone. And once you've got it plugged in and the unit is off, the inflator, go ahead and hold your plus button down. And now the power bank is actually working. There's no display, but I know it by my phone. Now it turns off after 60 minutes of use. So this will charge for 60 minutes and then it will automatically turn off. The last feature I wanted to go over is the flashlight. The little light up here is actually a flashlight. It's not an indicator light. To do that, the units button, hold it down. As you're holding it down, there's your flashlight. Now, it's not the brightest thing in the world, but it does work in an emergency situation. Now we're going to go ahead and install the inflator. Now this has to be installed whether you're pumping up a basketball, a raft, what have you. Simply screw it in and then you insert this into the end. So once we've got that connected, we're going to go ahead and insert it into our basketball. And then let's look at the display unit here. Let's go ahead and hold the power button until the display comes on. We'll go ahead and set it up for PSI. According to the manual, 9 PSI is approximately what it takes to pump up a basketball. Now the cool thing about this unit, so if you had a basketball or if you had a car or a bike tire, let's say a road bike tire that requires 110 PSI, you set this to 110 PSI. Once it reaches that 110 PSI, it should shut right off. You shouldn't have any overfilling, underfilling, anything like that. So let's go ahead and test it out. We've got it set at 9, we've got it plugged into the basketball, and let's see what happens. We're going to shut it off right there. That's 5 PSI. Now that is for a full-size basketball. This is a tiny bit smaller. I think it's a 28.5. So that might be, it's all the way full though. It's completely full. And it's at 4 PSI. Let's try the same thing on a bike. This tire is completely flat. This is a kid's bike, which requires 36 PSI. So we're going to hold the button down. And we are going to put it on 36 PSI and see what happens. Since this actually has the rating on it, I feel more comfortable putting 36 PSI in. stopped at 36. Actually stopped at 37. Now we're going to test this. Feels pretty hard to me. We're going to go ahead and double check that reading with this indicator right here and see what it says. So it says 35, 35 and a half, somewhere around there. So a little off maybe, but at least it didn't overfill it. That's the most important thing, I think. Really close. Of course, this could be off as well, who knows, but that filled up a lot quicker than I thought it was going to, actually. Not a whole lot to say. It actually works really well. So this gives you how long it would take. So a car tire, from completely empty, they say about 8 minutes. A road bike's 2.5 minutes, a mountain bike's 2 minutes. Actually, a basketball about a half a minute. And then you got to look at how often does it need recharge. So with a car tire, every 1 to 2 tires it'll need charge. So this would be for an emergency situation in a car. Road bike, you need about 5 inflations off of 1 charge. Now that's completely flat. Keep that in mind. Same with the car. A road bike, or a mountain bike rather, about 8 inflations before it needs charge, and a basketball about 30. That bike wasn't a road bike or a mountain bike, but I would say it was closer to the mountain bike because of the 30 to 50 PSI. And it didn't take anywhere near 2 minutes. So, although it is a smaller tire, I would say a mountain bike would maybe take a minute. Also, I want to go over the charge. You're able to see your charge right here. That's that bar at the top. This is completely charged up. Like I said, it took about a half hour because it was not fully discharged. And the light at the top would be your indicator. So when that turns green, I believe it's charged. If it's red, it's charging. All in all, I really like this unit. It's the right price. It works really well. It's not too heavy, but like I said, if you are a weight weenie for a road bike, you're not going to want to put this on your road bike. A mountain bike would be fine. For me, I am really going to install it in the trunk of my car because when we do go ride, we always put a bike rack on the car. I do have an emergency kit on my bike, so if I do have a flat, I've got a little CO2 inflator. This would be more for the car or my grandson's bike, that kind of thing. Basketballs be perfect. I can put everything in this pouch that I need. And I'll leave the charger in the glove box because I could charge that with my cigarette lighter USB adapter. If you are interested in purchasing this inflator, be sure to check out the links below the video description. I'll have the links where you can purchase this unit directly. Also, check out the other links in the description. I have all the tools I use pretty much in my garage, as well as some woodworking tools. Just about everything I have is in the description below, directly to Amazon where you can purchase anything you'd like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post those below. And as always, thanks for watching. And you've got this inflator here, which would be used for like maybe swimming pools, little blow-up dolls, that could... What the hell? Oh, blow-up dolls.